The large-scale collapse continued to intensify, becoming more and more violent. The rifts in the sky multiplied, appearing suddenly, as though a sharp sword had pierced through it, rapidly extending. If one were close, the scene would not only shock them but also consume them in an instant. At this moment, Xun'er's eyes gleamed with a strange light. His body floated in midair, arms spread wide, and the fragment continent beneath him began to slowly rotate. My Thunder Immortal Grand Array will be completed today. Xun'er laughed loudly, making a hand seal. Immediately, his primordial energy surged, merging into the earth beneath him, spreading out infinitely as though it had no end. Wang Lin's mind shook violently, his face darkening. Floating in the distant sky, he stared at Xun'er, silent. As for the sinister young man, his gaze flickered, and he slowly said, "Refining the immortal realm into a magical artifact is indeed intriguing. But, without an artifact spirit, what use is it?" In the sky, Xun'er laughed heartily and said, "Who said there is none? Artifact spirit, appear." As he spoke, he immediately opened his mouth and exhaled a gray light. Within the gray light, a palm-sized ancient mirror appeared. The mirror expanded as it faced the wind, quickly growing several times larger and forming an oval mirror over a person's height. The mirror surface distorted, and from within flew out a primordial spirit. As soon as the primordial spirit appeared, rich primordial energy radiated out. Ayin Deficiency Cultivator's primordial spirit. Wang Lin's gaze sharpened. 4th grade celestial being. The sinister young man looked at the primordial spirit, slowly speaking. He did not rush to act, but instead, he became curious to see how this person, claiming to be Xun'er, would refine the Thunder Immortal realm. Moreover, with his cultivation, he could easily tell that the Xun'er in the sky was not his true body, but rather a projection. The Ayin Deficiency primordial spirit appeared confused. The moment it manifested, Xun'er shouted, "49th God, go." As soon as these words were spoken, the primordial spirit's eyes exploded with brilliance, as if its divine sense was ignited. It saluted Xun'er, then swayed and merged into the earth. In the blink of an eye, it transformed into a wave of primordial energy, vanishing in a way that Wang Lin could not understand. In an instant, the primordial spirit reached the edge of one of the 49 fragment continents, fusing completely with it. Immediately, the 49th fragment continent seemed to come alive, its spiritual energy greatly enhanced. It wasn't over. Under Wang Lin's watch, ripples reappeared in the ancient mirror, and one by one, primordial spirits flew out. With Xun'er's low shout, as soon as these Ayin Deficiency primordial spirits appeared, they instantly merged into the earth, disappearing without a trace. Soon, out of the 49 rotating fragment continents, 28 of them had gained an artifact spirit. Artifact spirit, reappear. Xun'er's eyes gleamed with excitement. Instantly, the ancient mirror twisted violently, and another primordial spirit flew out. As soon as it appeared, the primordial energy it released was clearly more powerful than the previous 28. Wang Lin couldn't help but gasp in recognition. This was the primordial spirit of a Yang fulfillment cultivator. 9th grade celestial being, not bad. The sinister young man's expression remained unchanged as he calmly spoke. Following the Yang fulfillment primordial spirit, 13 more primordial spirits flew out, merging into the earth, disappearing without a trace. The unparalleled formation composed of 49 fragment continents suddenly underwent a transformation. Not only did the spiritual energy increase, but it seemed that the entire formation's power surged immensely at this moment. Reappear. Xun'er laughed maniacally, having prepared for this day for tens of thousands of years. The ancient mirror trembled, and this time, after about 10 breaths, a primordial spirit slowly flew out. This primordial spirit appeared extremely old, looking somewhat weak, but once it appeared, an enormous primordial energy, far surpassing the previous 42, spread out wildly. This is, Wang Lin's pupils contracted. The primordial energy was terrifying, almost on par with that of the ancestor of the Illusion clan. It must be a glimpse of Nirvana Cultivator's primordial spirit. 3rd grade Heavenly Immortal. The sinister young man's eyes narrowed. He licked his lips and slowly said. After the primordial spirit appeared, it looked up at the sky. Its eyes were lost, as though recalling the past, but at Xun'er's low shout, the primordial spirit shuddered, showing signs of fear. It swayed and merged into the earth, disappearing without a trace. Immediately, the 7th fragment of the Immortal Realm Grand Formation erupted with overwhelming pressure, and the formation's power soared once more. It wasn't over yet. As the ancient mirror rippled, a pair of large hands suddenly reached out, as though attempting to tear the mirror apart. A primordial spirit emerged from it. This primordial spirit was a middle-aged man, his face filled with murderous intent. As he tore his way out, he immediately looked up and roared. The murderous aura on his body surged, turning into a tangible force, forming a red storm. Wang Lin instinctively stepped back, his eyes wide with shock. He could no longer gauge this primordial spirit's cultivation, but he felt that this person, compared to the blood ancestor, was no match for him. 9-tier Celestial. The sinister man's eyes glinted with greed, but he did not step forward to seize it. Lazy looked at the middle-aged man, a faint, almost imperceptible regret flashing in his eyes, and slowly said, "This is my 4th destined one, but unfortunately. 6th God, take your place." The middle-aged man, who was thick with murderous aura, suddenly turned his head to glare at Lazy. After a brief silence, his body swayed, carrying the murderous aura with him, and he charged straight out, merging with the earth. Immediately, on the 6th fragment continent, a dense murderous aura exploded, spreading out. In an instant, the entire immortal realm formation was enveloped by the murderous aura, increasing its power. As the residual waves of the murderous aura had not yet dissipated, a cracking sound suddenly came from the ancient mirror. A fissure appeared on the mirror's surface. At the same time, within the distorted ripples on the mirror, another essence spirit emerged. This essence spirit was of an old man. After appearing, the world around him seemed to suddenly change. It was as though the rifts in the sky caused by the collapse paused in that moment. No primordial energy was emitted, but the old man's presence caused Wang Lin to retreat once again. The pressure emanating from him was immense. 2nd-tier Immortal King. The sinister man's eyes flashed with sharp light. The old man's essence spirit was rare in that it wasn't disoriented but clear-minded. After manifesting, he glanced at the world, and his gaze finally fell on Lazy. He gave a slight nod, and a voice filled with the weight of time echoed, "Remember your promise." After saying this, the old man's essence spirit merged with the earth, disappearing. A massive aura erupted on the 5th fragment road. Cracking sounds followed again, and the fissure on the ancient mirror deepened and lengthened. Within it, another essence spirit appeared. This one was completely red, bathed in blood light, with an overwhelming aura of hatred erupting the moment it manifested. Blood Ancestor. Wang Lin's face changed drastically, and he immediately retreated, his eyes fixed on the figure. However, after a moment, he realized the issue. Though it was the blood ancestor's essence spirit, its eyes were dull and lifeless, devoid of any energy. The blood ancestor's essence spirit silently descended to the earth, merging into it. Just before it completely disappeared, it lifted its head and glanced at Wang Lin. "The 4th God, take your place." 6th-tier Immortal King. The sinister man's gaze flickered, a sinister smile forming on his lips as he slowly said, "Interesting. But I wonder, is there an immortal lord?" "There is." Lazy, suspended in midair, replied with a trace of pride in his voice. At that moment, the fissure on the ancient mirror deepened again. This time, it wasn't just one crack but multiple cracks appearing, making it look as though the mirror was about to shatter. A flash of light rippled across its surface, and this time, 2 essence spirits stepped out simultaneously. An unimaginable amount of primordial energy surged, almost tangible, filling the world. The 2 essence spirits were incomplete, their forms slightly dim, with a seal emitting faint light from the center of their brows. When they manifested, the sinister youth's face shifted. He stared at them, his voice low. "1st-tier Immortal Lord." Wang Lin's face turned pale. His gaze grew solemn, as he sensed the same powerful presence from these two as he had from Tian Yunzi. Lazy wore a cautious expression, his hands forming seals. With a gesture, he shouted, "3rd God, 2nd God, take your place." The 2 essence spirits coldly glanced at Lazy before slowly descending to the earth, merging and disappearing. As they vanished, the ancient mirror shook, and the cracking sound grew louder, collapsing into countless fragments. At the same time, the essence spirit of the middle-aged man stepped out from within. This middle-aged man appeared extremely ordinary, with no discernible fluctuation of primordial energy. However, the moment he appeared, a killing intent that could tear the world apart erupted from his body. The killing intent merged with the world, as though it had become part of the rules themselves. Wang Lin immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and quickly retreated, channeling his primordial energy. Yet, the killing intent lingered throughout the world. His face turned ashen, and fear flashed in his eyes. "Reign Immortal Realm, 6th-tier Killing Immortal Lord." The sinister youth's expression shifted, his eyes narrowing with a cold glint. The middle-aged man remained calm. After appearing, he glanced at Yin Lazy. Yin Lazy pointed at the ground beneath him and shouted, "First God, take your place." The middle-aged man fell silent for a moment, then his body swayed, landing on the earth, vanishing instantly. At the same time, the first fragment at the center of the Immortal Realm formation exploded with killing intent, spreading rapidly to cover all the fragment continents. Immortal formation, close. Yin Lazy's eyes sparkled with excitement as he shouted. Originally, he had prepared 49 essence spirits, but after obtaining the Blood Ancestor's essence spirit, he had changed his mind and replaced one at the last moment. With Yin Lazy's words, the Thunder Immortal Realm underwent a dramatic change. The 49 fragment continents, now imbued with the artifact spirit, seemed to come alive. In an instant, they shrank, forming 49 palm-sized fragments that gathered around Yin Lazy. On each fragment, a divine sense emerged and swiftly merged with Yin Lazy's body. Once all 49 divine senses entered his body, his figure flashed with light, and his form solidified. In order to refine the Thunder Immortal Realm, Yin Lazy had long ago divided his essence spirit into 49 parts and fused them with the fragment continents, allowing him to fully control them. Now, as his essence spirit returned and coalesced, it quickly formed his true body. At this moment, he was surrounded by the 49 fragments, emanating an unbelievably powerful aura that made Yin Lazy appear majestic and imposing. Quite impressive. The malevolent youth watched Yin Lazy and slowly said, "Though this immortal formation treasure is strong, it lacks a certain sharpness. I believe that is why you called me here." Yin Lazy fixed his gaze on the malevolent youth and said in a deep voice, "Qishue, Immortal Lord, I want your extreme realm." The sinister man frowned and replied indifferently, "I am not Qishue. I've traveled to the Immortal Realm hundreds of times, perusing every secret text I could find. Finally, I discovered a person in the Thunder Immortal Realm, named Qishue. His cultivation is profound, and he possesses the legendary Extreme Realm. He was the crown prince of Qishue Kingdom in the ancient cultivation world. After ascending to the Immortal Realm, he came to the Thunder Immortal Realm, eventually becoming an Immortal Lord. But before the Immortal Realm shattered, something unknown caused a drastic change in him. He became like a demon, unleashing a killing spree. The Immortals of the realm attacked him, but due to his extreme realm abilities, he caused endless slaughter. In the end, Immortal Emperor Bai Fan intervened, defeated him in battle, but could not bring himself to kill him. In a moment of indecision, this man seemed to regain his senses. It was as if everything that happened was just a nightmare. When he woke up, he realized he had slaughtered many immortals. Among those he killed were his friends, his disciples, and even his own descendants. Most tragically, one of those he killed was his companion of tens of thousands of years, his Tao partner. This scene broke him with grief. He had slaughtered his loved ones and his Tao partner. Consumed by the killing, his demonic thoughts awakened. Just as he was on the verge of losing his mind, he struggled and drove his sword into himself, causing his essence spirit and body to collapse. To prevent his extreme realm from allowing him to resurrect, he used his own artifact to seal his soul and body, splitting them into 9 parts and sealing them away. Immortal Emperor Bai Fan, feeling pity for him, placed a healing formation over the 9 seals, hoping that one day he could fully awaken. The reason Immortal Emperor Bai Fan did this was that this Qishue was his only disciple, and he was the one most likely to become an Immortal Emperor in the Thunder Immortal Realm. Yin Lazy finished, then slapped his storage pouch and immediately took out an ancient Immortal Jade. This is the immortal slip left by Immortal Emperor Bai Fan, containing the life story of his disciple, Qishue. Once you look at it, you'll understand. He tossed the jade toward the malevolent youth. The youth caught the immortal slip, and after a moment of silence, confusion appeared in his eyes. Yin Lazy felt a sudden unease. He swiftly slapped his right hand in front of him, and the 49 fragments scattered forward. At that moment, Qishue looked up and let out a roar. The sound was immense, carrying the force of heaven and earth. It was as if a thunderclap had suddenly struck, the echo reverberating. A large number of rifts appeared in the void in front of Qishue, which tore open and spiraled back toward Yin Lazy. At the same time, endless wind howled from the rift, as if the heavens were enraged, forming a storm that rushed toward Yin Lazy. Yin Lazy's expression darkened, and with a cold snort, the 49 fragments in front of him immediately spun, creating an immense suction. Both the tearing rift and the howling wind were drawn into the fragment's vortex. Yin Lazy shouted, "Qishue, I showed you the immortal slip to help you remember what happened in the past. It was not done with ill intent. Wang Lin, who was far away, quickly retreated, performing hand seals to unleash waves of primordial energy to barely escape. His face was pale, and he stared ahead with a grim expression. "I will kill you," Qi Shui roared, charging forward with incredible speed. As he charged, his right hand reached into the void and tore it open, appearing behind Yin Lazy. His eyes were bloodshot as he grabbed fiercely. The 49 fragments in front of Yin Lazy instantly appeared behind him and clashed with Qing Shui's right hand. A tremendous explosion rang out. Despite Qing Shui's immense power, he was forced back 100 yards. His eyes turned even redder, and he seemed to fall into a strange state. With another roar, he charged forward once more. Yin Lazy furrowed his brows tightly. He hadn't expected that showing the immortal slip would lead to such an unexpected turn of events, which caught him off guard. Especially when he saw the current state of his opponent, his heart sank. Could it be that this person has, just like he did in the past, encountered a mishap and been overtaken by demonic thoughts? Yin Lazy inwardly fumed. As the Qing Shui surged toward him again, he quickly formed hand seals, and immediately, the 49 fragments surrounding him shot outward with a burst of golden light. The golden light intertwined, forming a formation. Immortal formation, transform. Yin Lazy muttered, and the golden light formation rose into the air from the 49 fragments. Like an ethereal array, it swiftly flew out and, in the blink of an eye, surrounded the incoming Qi Shui. With a roar, Qing Shui's body was forcibly bound in place. At that moment, Yin Lazy's eyes flickered, and he shouted, "Slay Immortal Sting." Instantly, the golden light formation spun violently. Golden stingers appeared out of the rotation, stabbing fiercely into Qing Shui's body. The golden light carried an aura of destruction, and even Wang Lin, from a distance, could sense it. As countless golden stingers pierced through Qi Shui, a more twisted and ferocious look appeared on his face. "I had forgotten about the events from back then, but you forced me to remember." A glint of red flickered in Qing Shui's eyes, accompanied by a deep sadness. The sorrow was thick, so thick it felt as though it had been frozen for millennia. When summoned, Qi Shui raised his right hand and pointed to the sky. Wang Lin's eyes shot wide open as he saw a gust of black wind howl out, surrounding Qing Shui's body and forming a hurricane that suddenly tore outward. The golden light formation collapsed in an instant. The black wind raged, transforming into 8 black dragons that swept through the sky, their massive forms almost blending with the void. Only their heads remained visible, blowing fiercely toward Yin Lazy. The chilling wind swept through, as if the world itself was vanishing, and everything in sight was breaking apart. Yin Lazy's expression darkened, and he retreated a few steps. His right hand formed seals as he shouted, "Immortal formation, gather you on." The 49 fragments around him immediately erupted with a massive surge of primordial energy. These energies quickly condensed into 49 beams of rainbow-like light, all shooting straight into the approaching black wind. Bang, 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 bang. The thunderous sounds echoed. Wang Lin continued to retreat, blood streaming from his 7 orifices. Each blast caused his heart to tremble, but his eyes remained bright and focused, unwavering in their gaze. Wind summon. This is the true power of wind summon, he thought to himself. After the 49 explosive sounds, Yin Lazy stepped back several paces, his complexion slightly pale. The strain of maintaining the formation was significant for him. A battle with Qi Shui should not have been so difficult, but the real challenge was the incredible power of Qing Shui's divine abilities. This is no ordinary immortal art. Yin Lazy had never seen Wang Lin use this ability before, but now that he witnessed it firsthand, he was greatly shocked. When the Thunder Immortal realm collapsed, it was rumored that Immortal Emperor Baifan met a strange death. As Baifan's disciple, don't you want to uncover the truth and avenge your master? Yin Lazy's brow furrowed deeply. He did not want to engage in a fight with Qi Shui unless absolutely necessary, as it would greatly interfere with his plans. A flash of murderous intent appeared in Qing Shui's eyes. He took a step forward, immediately pursuing, and with both hands forming seals, he pressed his palms together. The seal immediately transformed, and he pointed to the sky, shouting, "Rain calling." In an instant, the entire world fell into emptiness. Within 1,000 yards, drops of crystal-clear rain, like blood-red crystals, began to fall. These raindrops glistened like fresh blood, painting the 1,000-yard area in crimson light. At the same time, Qi Shui formed seals again and pointed forward, shouting, "Rain calling, frost seal." Cracking sounds rang out as the raindrops within 1,000 yards immediately transformed into ice crystals. These ice crystals rapidly expanded and connected to each other, spreading outwards and heading straight for Yin Lazy at the center. The mortal lord's sudden loss of sanity led to endless slaughter. Could the true reason behind it not cause doubt in the immortal lord's heart? Yin Lazy shouted as the 49 fragments around him began to spin rapidly, forming a vortex. The fragments enlarged in an instant, expanding multiple times and continuing to spread. According to the ancient texts I've researched, at the same time the immortal lord lost his mind, similar occurrences happened in the other 3 immortal realms. Perhaps the answer lies within the Renegade Immortal Realm's cultivation alliance. Even if there is no answer, I promise to assist the immortal lord in seeking the cause from the wind and thunder immortal realms. The 49 fragments surrounding Yin Lazy spun wildly, forming a massive vortex. As they spread, they countered the rapidly approaching ice crystals. I'm not afraid of you. I just don't wish to fight you. If you could break the seal, it wasn't solely due to your strength, it was my secret assistance. Qi Shui, don't force my hand. Yin Lazy, now enraged, shouted. The murderous intent in Qing Shui's eyes was forcefully suppressed. He gazed at Yin Lazy and slowly spoke. Give me a reason to send you to the extreme realm. This reason is not enough. Qing Shui said calmly. After the immortal lord was sealed, the immortal realm faced a great calamity, and all 4 immortal realms collapsed. Surely, immortal lord, you want to know the cause behind all of this? In the Renegade Immortal Realm's cultivation alliance, it is rumored that immortals still survive. If immortal lord follows me, you will certainly learn the truth. Qing Shui's eyes showed deep thought. After a long pause, he slowly spoke again, still not enough. When I was younger, I served as an elder in the Renegade Immortal Realm's cultivation alliance. Within the alliance, there was a scroll. It is said that this scroll descended from the heavens after the collapse of the immortal realm, and it contains a trace of the ancient immortal domain's aura. When I left the alliance, no one had been able to open it. But rumors say that within this scroll lies the true secret behind the collapse of the immortal realm. All of this is undoubtedly tied to the great upheaval that occurred when you appeared. After all, it is too much of a coincidence. Less than 100 years after you slaughtered the immortals, the immortal realm collapsed. If there is no connection here, I do not believe it. Qing Shui, we are not enemies. If you still disagree with these reasons, then so be it. Let us fight. I will no longer hold back and will unleash the full power of this immortal formation treasure. Yin Lazy's gaze flashed with killing intent. The 49 fragment continents revolving around him suddenly halted, but an incredibly terrifying aura immediately burst from within. Qing Shui coldly looked at Yin Lazy. His eyes flashed with crimson light, and a chilling aura slowly spread. Yin Lazy's heart sank as he sighed inwardly. He had done his best. After tens of thousands of years, he had reviewed the records of the immortal realm and learned of the events that had happened. He had formulated a plan to both refine the immortal realm and seek the extreme realm, looking for help. Unfortunately, he had never expected this outcome. If you speak falsely, I will detonate the extreme realm. Qing Shui said coldly, and the red glow in his right eye flared up. In an instant, a bolt of lightning shot out. The moment it appeared, all the ice crystals surrounding Yin Lazy vanished. The lightning streaked toward one of the fragments outside of Yin Lazy's body. Then, a series of red lightning bolts, infused with the power of the extreme realm, shot from Qing Shui's right eye. 49 bolts in total, each merging into a fragment. The entire immortal formation treasure immediately exuded a cold aura. At times, the crimson glow flashing across it carried the power of the extreme realm. Immortal Lord need not worry, I speak no falsehood. Yin Lazy laughed heartily. With a gesture of his hand, the 49 fragments began to spin. Suddenly, a massive vortex appeared in the sky, a black hole opening up. Immortal Lord, please follow me to meet the Taoist friends of the Luotian star domain, and then we will open the passage to the Alliance star domain. Yin Lazy said, stepping forward to enter the vortex. Qing Shui hesitated for a moment but then followed, stepping into the vortex as well. Just before entering, he glanced back at Wang Lin, his eyes gleaming strangely. He sent out a divine thought, and then his figure vanished into the vortex. Almost instantly, the vortex disappeared. In the void, only Wang Lin remained. From you, I sense a familiar aura. You have learned the wind summoning technique, making you a disciple of my master's disciple. Take care to understand it well. This is one of the 6 great divine abilities of my master. Do not let it be tarnished in your hands. Catching the purple gold horn, Wang Lin remained silent. Qing Shui's divine thought echoed in his ears. After a long time, Wang Lin glanced at the purple gold horn, storing it in his pouch. His body flashed, and he flew off into the distance. At this moment, the Thunder Immortal realm suddenly lacked the 49 fragments. Although the vortex was no longer present, the collapse continued and even intensified. A wailing sound, like the cries of ghosts and wolves, echoed endlessly throughout the Thunder Immortal realm, shaking the hearts of those who heard it, sending a chill deep into their bones. As Wang Lin flew, he found it impossible to merge with the world around him. He could only carefully avoid the rifts in space, flying aimlessly through the Thunder Immortal realm. The Immortal Realm Gate is closed. How will I get out? And Qin Shui, could it be that he saw through my possession of the Extreme Realm? Wang Lin's figure flickered, and after avoiding a spatial rift, a sudden realization struck him like a thunderbolt. His eyes immediately brightened as he recalled a remark made by Shen Gonghu when he had first introduced the Thunder Immortal Realm. Right now, I need to find Shen Gonghu. Wang Lin closed his eyes, sensing the Tao soul of Shen Gonghu within his essence spirit. With a subtle sense, he changed direction and sped off after a moment. Shen Gonghu was flying rapidly through the void. Although the Thunder Immortal Realm Gate had been destroyed, he knew of another place to leave this realm. That was the only teleportation array set up by the Thunder Immortal Palace in the Thunder Immortal Realm. It was through this formation that the emissaries of the Thunder Immortal Palace often entered this realm without needing to pass through the Immortal Realm Gate. However, the teleportation array belonging to the Thunder Immortal Palace had a major limitation. It could only teleport a few people at a time, and apart from the emissaries, no one else was allowed to enter. Anyone who attempted to enter would be killed without mercy. This rule had been strictly enforced since the creation of the Thunder Immortal Palace's teleportation array in the Thunder Immortal Realm. Even if someone accidentally stumbled upon it, they would immediately be eradicated. The power of the Thunder Immortal Palace was not to be trifled with. And with the rift in the relationship between him and the Thunder Immortal Palace, Shen Gonghu had avoided using this array earlier, instead heading for the Immortal Realm Gate. However, with the closure of the Immortal Realm Gate and the widespread collapse of the Thunder Immortal Realm, Shen Gonghu's speed slowed, forcing him to choose the Thunder Immortal Palace instead. I wonder where my lord is now. Shen Gonghu muttered to himself. He had always believed that his lord would never be defeated. When he traveled with Shen Gonghu earlier, he had considered heading to the teleportation array, but due to concerns about Shen Gonghu, he hadn't mentioned it and had instead gone to the Immortal Realm Gate together. The battle outside the Immortal Realm Gate had invigorated Zhang Kongya's spirit. Though the Thunder Immortal Realm was unstable, his resolve remained unshaken. Like Shen Gonghu, he firmly believed that Wang Lin would not be defeated. I wonder where Shen Gonghu is now. He's probably on his way to the teleportation array at the Thunder Immortal Palace, just like me. Zhang Kongya's figure swayed as he narrowly avoided a rift that suddenly appeared in the void. In fact, after Zhang Konglai had gone to the Immortal Sword Gate earlier, he quickly realized that although many cultivators were there, apart from himself and Shen Gonghu, there were no emissaries of the Thunder Immortal Palace. He knew then that all the emissaries had probably gone to the place where the teleportation array was located. Now, Zhang Konglai and Shen Gonghu, from two different locations in the void, raced toward the Thunder Immortal Palace's teleportation array. Meanwhile, Wang Lin's figure also cut through the void like a rainbow, guided by the Tao soul of Shen Gonghu in his mind. Despite the increasingly violent collapse of the Thunder Immortal Realm, Wang Lin steadily approached. However, the growing number of rifts in the sky made it harder to move quickly, as any slip-up would result in being devoured by the void. This forced him to be cautious and constantly monitor the changes in the surrounding space. As he flew, the only sound he could hear besides the howling wind was the occasional loud boom. The noise grew more pronounced as Wang Lin passed through the collapsing fragment continents. He had witnessed 2 fragment continents completely collapse into huge piles of debris, as if a storm had swept through. Some parts were torn into the rifts in the void, while others were scattered forcefully in all directions. A few pieces even shot directly toward Wang Lin, their powerful air currents no weaker than the full force of a peak-stage cultivator's attack. Such an attack, though not fatal for those who hadn't reached the second step of cultivation, could still be deadly if one wasn't careful, especially if a spatial rift appeared while dodging or countering. For Wang Lin, however, there was no such worry. Whether using the immortal art of immobilization or other divine abilities, he could easily avoid these attacks. Flying calmly, his figure swayed with each movement, dodging rifts and heading straight ahead. But as he ventured deeper, the rifts in the void grew more frequent, until they were nearly everywhere, like countless tears on a black sheet of paper, waiting to shatter into pieces at any moment. Wang Lin frowned. He could vaguely feel that there was some distance between him and Xun'er. At this pace, it seemed unlikely that he would catch up anytime soon. After a brief pause, Wang Lin's eyes flashed, and with a hand gesture, he pressed his brow. He immediately spat out a grain of sand, which quickly transformed into a massive piece of land, 100 zhang in size. This object has been refined through the heavenly tribulation, and even a mortal monarch Qingfin's strike couldn't destroy it. I believe these rifts won't be able to shatter it either. Wang Lin pointed forward, and the 100 zhang-sized fragment continent flew ahead, while he observed closely. As the continent sped forward, it collided with several rifts. In an instant, the tearing force emanating from the rifts spread across the continent, but despite this, the fragment continent showed no sign of damage and continued to surge forward. As it charged forward, the rifts seemed to be flattened halfway, showing signs of temporarily closing. Wang Lin's gaze sharpened. His body shifted forward, stepping onto the 100 zhang fragment, sitting cross-legged and forming hand seals. His primordial energy surged within him, flowing into the fragment. The entire piece blazed with light. Its speed doubled as it shot forward in a straight line. This time, the speed was much faster than before. Wang Lin only needed to be wary of the enormous rifts that stretched over 100 zhang in length. He could ignore the other smaller spatial rifts. In this Thunder Immortal realm, the 100 zhang fragment moved with incredible speed. After half an hour, Wang Lin relaxed, his gaze fixed ahead. But just then, his expression shifted. In the distance, a dim, long rainbow streaked across the sky. Within the rainbow was a woman, her appearance delicate, but her face pale, eyes filled with panic. She was constantly dodging spatial rifts, narrowly escaping being devoured by them multiple times. The 100 zhang fragment, which Wang Lin was on, stood out in the void. The woman immediately spotted it, her face lighting up with joy. Just as she was about to fly toward it, a 10 zhang-wide spatial rift silently appeared in front of her, opening like the gaping mouth of a malevolent ghost. The cold wind howled, and her face instantly drained of color. She attempted to dodge, but was too slow. Despair flashed in her eyes. Wang Lin remained calm, retracting his gaze. True to his nature, he wouldn't save someone without reason. The 100 zhang fragment flashed and continued its flight without hesitation. "Senior, save me. Zhang Konglai is my cousin," the woman cried out in desperation, struggling to break free from the rift's pull. Wang Lin frowned. He recognized her. She was one of the group who had flown past him some time ago when Zhang Konglai and his companions had seen him and approached to greet him. At that time, her cultivation was clearly at the indeficiency stage, but now it seemed her cultivation had plummeted, and her primordial energy was almost depleted. She likely only had the strength to reach the seeking Dao level. The 100 zhang fragment beneath Wang Lin suddenly veered and rushed toward her. In an instant, it was upon her, crashing directly into the 10 zhang wide rift. At the moment of impact, the woman leaped out, landing on the 100 zhang fragment. Her face was still deathly pale, and she was shaken, gazing at Wang Lin with gratitude. She softly said, "Thank you for saving my life, Senior." Wang Lin frowned, glanced at the woman, and said indifferently, "Do you have any immortal jade?" The woman paused and quickly nodded. 10,000 immortal jade for saving your life. Add another 10,000, and you may stay here for 1 hour. It increases by 10,000 for each additional hour, Wang Lin said calmly, his expression unchanging. The 100 zhang fragment beneath him surged forward once more, speeding away. The woman remained silent, a trace of disdain flickering in her eyes. She hadn't expected that this senior, whom Zhang Konglai had spoken so highly of, would be someone like this. If she hadn't witnessed his battle with the white-haired stranger, she would never have believed that a senior of his caliber would ask for immortal jade at this moment. Without saying another word, she took out a storage pouch and threw it to Wang Lin. "There are 50,000 immortal jade inside. Senior, please check." Wang Lin caught the pouch, wiped away its spiritual sense, opened it, and quickly scanned the contents. Seeing that the amount was roughly correct, he put it away and paid no further attention to her, closing his eyes and sitting down to meditate. The woman had not expected Wang Lin to actually check the amount, and her contempt deepened. She sighed inwardly, sitting cross-legged at a distance from him, staring blankly ahead into the void, her eyes showing confusion. "Jean, big brother, where are you?" The 100 zhang fragment now had another passenger, but it didn't affect its speed. It charged forward, the woman recovering from her confusion and gasping as she watched the fragment collide with each of the spatial rifts. "What kind of magical artifact is this? It's terrifying." The woman observed as nearly all the rifts closed upon impact with the fragment, regardless of how strong the tearing force within them was. They had no effect on the fragment at all. Just then, her gaze sharpened, and in the distance, 3 long rainbows shot forward. Within them were 2 men and 1 woman, their faces grim, as showing anxiety. Shizi Feng, the woman on the fragment, immediately stood up. The 3 in the distance noticed them and showed surprise, immediately rushing toward the fragment, deftly avoiding the rifts as they flew toward it. Wang Lin remained calm, his speed unchanged as he continued forward, the 3 clearly struggling to keep up. Zhanyun, wait. Among the 3, the female cultivator, Shizi Feng, anxiously shouted. The woman on the fragment quickly shouted to Wang Lin, Senior, stop. My friend wants to board. Wang Lin opened his eyes, showing a hint of impatience, but he didn't respond to her request. The woman with the surname Zhan stomped her foot and slapped her storage pouch. Immediately, a crimson silk flew out, which she shook, causing it to extend and lash out, heading straight for the 3 individuals chasing behind the fragment. The woman named Shizi Feng immediately grabbed it in midair. Her body swayed, and she swiftly flew out, with the 2 men behind her also reaching out to grab it. The 3 of them almost simultaneously sped forward, eventually catching up with the fragment and landing on it.